You know, I got this little thing here. Some of you will know this, but my father, who was in ministry for like 60 years, planted or was a part of planting like 14 churches. In his young years, pastored multiple churches and on Indian reservations there in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Northern California, British Columbia. And my father would journal. He journaled for 60 years. He journaled all the testimony. This is 4 or 5 books out of like 100 that we have. We have a stack of about 100 of these things. And I brought 4 of them here just so I could have something to hold up for you today. But last night, Tammy and I were reading through these. We also have about 100 plus cassette tapes where he would take a microphone and he would verbally tell the stories of 60 years of what Christ did, what God did, the miracles in our families' lives. We have those tapes. He is in heaven now, but we have that. What is he doing? He is making sure that the generations of his family know what God did. Some of the things, I'm going to read you a couple things out of these that Tammy and I, that we read last night. My pastor wrote this, that when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, I don't know if maybe I never told you that, but my father was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease like, I would say like 25 years ago, 28 years ago, something like that. So he's diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. But at the first, we didn't know what it was. We just knew something was wrong. And this is what he says. Last night we read this log that he wrote. I thank God I now have the knowledge I need to fight this enemy. He found out he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. Can you believe that? Instead of saying, I can't believe I was just diagnosed with Parkinson's. Where's my God? He now says, I know who my enemy is. And this is what he said. So let the battle begin. I mean, I'm telling you, you want to talk about family pride? I'm sitting on my couch and I want to like shout the Star Spangled Banner or something. Of family pride. That my father is diagnosed with Parkinson's and he doesn't cry in his soup. He says, now I know my enemy, so let the battle begin. And he won that battle against that enemy. He wrote this. As many of you know, our family lived in England. We live in England, and we went through some bad times in England when we first got there. Financially, it was hard. It was real hard. We didn't have the money that we needed to live there, minister there. Some things had went really sideways with our support, and we were in a bad place. And you know the stories. We were down to eating peanut butter and green apples. You know the story. Before long, you'll be able to quote my testimony as good as I can quote Jim's testimony. And this is what my father wrote. He says, at 3:23 a.m., almost all of these logs in these books are almost all between 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Almost all of them. This is what he writes. We have sent 2 apostles to England. They will succeed. They will not fail. God has declared it. God has promised it. I am now going back to sleep, 4:20 a.m. He was up for 1 hour praying for us because God had woke him, and that's what God spoke to him. He wrote it, he declared it, and he went back to bed. These are the things that I cherish. And you wonder why we have such strong faith. Because it's been passed down from generation to generation. Listen to this verse, Exodus chapter 10, verse 2. I've also done it so that you can tell your children and grandchildren, God did these miracles. Why did he do them? Well, I did them for you, but I also did them for your children and your grandchildren, and to make a mockery of the Egyptians, or the enemy, and about the signs I displayed among them, and so you will know that I am the Lord.